Okay, it's now 5:20, and we'll call our Mid-State District Board of Directors meeting to order. And can we have a roll call, please?
Robert Beaver.
Here.
Betty Krusky Malik. Kristen Press. Here. Craig Gerlach. Justin Herder.
Here.
Richard Merton.
Here.
Linnea Miller.
Here.
Gordon Shallow. Charles Spargo.
Here. This June 17, 2019 meeting of the Mid-State Technical College Board and all other meetings of the board and/or its committees is open to the public in compliance with state statutes. Notice of this meeting has been sent to the news media and designated persons in an attempt to make the citizens of the Mid-State Technical College District aware of the place, time, and agenda of the meeting. Open forum. The open forum is at the option of the board chairperson, and ground rules may be established in order to ensure the orderly conduct of business. Please keep in mind that this is a meeting of the district board open to the public and not a public hearing. Persons who wish to address the district board may make a statement as long as it pertains to a specific agenda item. Individuals should not expect to engage in discussion with the members of the district board. The district board chairperson may or may not respond to statements that are made. With that, we'll move on to the approval of minutes from our May 20th, 2019 regular meeting.
I'll move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those against say no. Okay. Then we'll move on to the consent agenda items, which includes the payment of bills and payroll, contracted services agreements, and the procurement for goods and services. And for that, we'll need a roll call vote. A motion in a second.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda items. We reviewed them in Finance Committee and everything was in order.
Second.
Okay, motion in a second. Thank you.
Robert Beaver.
Yes.
Kristen Press. Yes. Justin Herder.
Yes.
Richard Merton.
Yes.
Linnea Miller.
Yes.
Charles Spargo.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move on to the reports and recommendations portion. Want to welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. Gordon, Craig, and Betty have all asked to be excused this evening. The Summer Boards Association meeting will be held July 18th through the 20th in Rice Lake. The in-service presentation will be on boardsmanship. Bob, Betty, Kristen, Linnea, Rick, and Shelley are all planning on to attend. July board meeting. The annual organizational meeting will be held Monday, July 8th, which is the second Tuesday. We will begin committee meetings at 3:30 p.m. and which goes right into the next meeting date, which is that July 8th, 2019 meeting. We will be here at the Wisconsin Rapids campus. Committee meetings will begin at 3:30 p.m. unless otherwise announced. Committee of the whole will be held at 4 p.m. and the regular meeting will begin at 4:15 p.m. Okay. And with that, we'll move on to the Mid-State Foundation Liaison Report. Looks like Jill's with us today again. Hello.
Good evening.
Hello.
I hope everybody's been enjoying the sunshine since we had the coldest Father's Day since 1975, so. But anyhow, just an update. Our golf outing at Lake Arrowhead was a huge success. We grossed almost $21,000, and our net after expenses is gonna be close to 11. So we are really thrilled about that. We had 61 golfers, 24 volunteers, so we had a great time. The comments about the photos beforehand, Shelley, people loved. So I think that might be something that we do on a regular basis, because we were able to post all of those photos on Facebook right in a relatively short period of time. So thanks to our marketing department for making that happen. Our Sand Valley Golf outing is August 7th. We already have about $7,000 worth of sponsorships in. We're still looking for 13 teams of 5 persons. So if you know of anybody that would like to check out the Sand Valley Par 3 golf course, that would be great. Trap shooting is September 6th, and our scholarship reception is September 12th. We are also in the heat of the Rafters Free Tuition Tuesdays. Tomorrow will be our second opportunity of 6 this summer, where we will have the opportunity to give a student up to $15,000 in free tuition. If the Rafters pitcher strikes out the side in the top of the 3rd inning, we give them $15,000 towards tuition and books and so forth at Midstate. So we're really excited about that. I have a big check, and I'm hoping that we can give it away sooner rather than later. But it's a great PR piece for us, a great way to get the foundation out there, a great way to just wrap what we do with students and scholarships all together. Our scholarship window actually closes this Friday. Currently, we have 147 applications in the mix. We sent out a reminder to students about the deadline, and we have fielded a ton of calls already today in regards to it. So we should have a good population of applications by the end of the week. So that's awesome. Activities, I'm working with Marshall Clinic right now to do a sponsor scholar for the CNA program. That's new. And I'm working with the Wisconsin Society of Land Surveyors for their central chapter to start a scholarship for our civil program. They all know that our program is highly touted, and so they want to support that versus give their funds to the state. So we're excited about that. We are also come to a point where our food pantry for the summer is pretty slim picking, so we're actually putting together a list of food donations that we need, and we're actually using funds out of our emergency fund that have been designated to food to go out and purchase this week. So our food pantries on all 4 of our campuses should be somewhat filled by the end. So as summer classes go and students need it, as well as heading into our fall semester, we're hoping to have the food pantries pretty stocked. In addition, in July, I will give you our annual report for the foundation on where we landed for scholarships, disbursements, emergency funding, and some other tidbits based on how we end the year here on June 30th. So, does anybody have any questions for me? And thank you all for your support of the foundation and the Gulf outing and all the events. It was amazing. We had a little rain on our Gulf outing, but it held off, so we're thrilled.
And how many Rafters Tuesdays games are there?
There's 6.
6, okay.
We had our first one last Tuesday, so after I got the golfers off, I ran to the rafters because I have to witness the pitching on the 3rd inning, and then I came back. So that's why we had so many volunteers taking care of different things, so.
Did I hear, unfortunately, for that game, they walked?
They walked the
Batter.
first batter, so we could just pack up our check and go home. So, but yeah, it was great. I mean, our marketing department, Andrew was there. He took pictures of the person that qualified, and that got put up on Facebook right away. We did just a basic drawing for a basket of foundation merchandise so we can get some alumni information. And if there's anybody in there that wanted more information about Midstate, we're passing that out on to outreach so they have it. So it's a coordinated effort between it. So it was really good, fun.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can next move on to the president's report with Dr. Monday.
Sure, Justin, thank you. Just a few things. Our last board meeting was on May 20th, and actually that week, we had 2 other graduations that I wanted to share. We had experienced our Law Enforcement Academy graduation, which is always a special night. I believe there was over 100 people in our auditorium for that. We also had our Machine Tool Apprenticeship graduation that is done in partnership with the North Central Workforce Development Board. What made that so special is when Governor Evers was here, this was a group of students that he had visited. So to be able to go back and be part of the graduation, and with having some time with Governor Evers, I was able to share the story that when I was meeting with him, how he had said those students had impacted him. If you recall, I may have shared the story that we had the one student here that found him in the hall after he had walked into the classroom to say, "Governor, can I take a selfie with you?" And when I had met the governor, he said, "I remember that student." You know, we talked about that selfie. So to be able to share that story at graduation and the impact that these students had on the governor, I think was a pretty cool story. We also, last week, we are trying to concentrate again on having middle schoolers here to be able to help them see what Midstate is about before they maybe hear about us just in high school. So we had 120 students here last week, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and they were here at our Wisconsin Rapids campus for College Camp 2019. Last year, we had 93 attendees, so we were really happy to see that the number had increased. The students were able to participate in 4 sessions of their choosing, so we have a number of options they get to choose to kind of pick the events and the activities that they want to be part of. And Altenburg Farms, which is a local farm that is on Highway 54, we have been working a little bit with their owner, Harold, and he very much has a passion for agriculture and trying to do what he can to be able to instill some of that passion And so one of the sessions that we had was out at his farm. And if you go by Altenburg Farms right now, you will see there is a white tent up on Highway 54. And really it calls out that this is kind of the mid-state corner where we're going to be doing some continuing education as well out at the farm. So the strawberries are going to be coming in. So we're going to, I believe, do maybe a strawberry type cooking class. They're doing the straw bale gardening continuing education. We're going to be doing that out there. So again, just working with our partners, which is what we do. But the group had shared with me that one of the best comments that were made for the whole day was a student that said, "Why don't we do this twice a year?" So I think that's when you know that you're having a great experience for them. We have, Brad had talked about it in the committee a little bit, which I know will be reported out, but you had heard, at least Bob did in the committee, that we have just completed a small realignment of some staff and some positions here at the college. And that has been something that we really have been working on over the last 6 months. You may recall the first year with me coming in was really about listening and watching, observing. In November of this, just a few months ago, quite a few months ago, I had sent out an email to the whole college asking people again if they thought we were aligned in the most efficient way, because there had been a realignment done right before I came, if you recall. And when I came in that first year, there was a lot of conversation about that realignment and definitely expressing some concern. So definitely have kind of taken a step back. So there's just 5 things that I want to share with you that is really a change. And so the first thing is that you are now going to hear in Wisconsin Rapids and in Marshfield and Stevens Point, we now have an office manager. And really this is a person who's managing the SSIC operations. So when you think of our Student Service Information Center, we took 3 current or past college experience specialists, people who are already here, and we transitioned them into this new office manager position. And so just a great growth opportunity for Chris Ann and Debbie and Tracy. We're just really excited for them, trying to promote from within. That's what I feel very strongly about. We also had to make a decision regarding our 2 schools. The Dean of the School of Transportation, Ag, Natural Resources, and Construction, and our School of Advanced Manufacturing and Engineering. So we had done with our Protective Service Dean and our Dean of Health, you may recall we combined, I don't want to say we combined these 2 schools, but we're having one dean that is supervising both schools. We made the decision to do the same thing. And Al Jaworowski, who is the Dean of the Transportation, Ag, Natural Resources, and Construction, actually that was Ron. So the Advanced Manufacturing and Engineering Department, we actually asked Al to go ahead and be able to be that dean over both schools. Ron Zilmer, who was in a dean role, we asked him to move into a position which is a manager for growth initiatives. So some of the very specific things we're doing, we're asking him to help be part of that. After we made this information, I think it was about 3 days after this came out, Al has notified that he's leaving Mid-State, so I wanted you to know that. He has taken a position with Nicolay College, and we wish him nothing but the best. Kind of a bad timing standpoint, but he had been working on this, and unfortunately we did not know that. So you will see now, if you go to our website, we have posted that dean position, so I just wanted to share that with you. Ron, part of his school was agriculture, and Alex Lenvid, who is at our Marshfield campus dean, has a strong history in agriculture. And agriculture is primarily done in the Marshfield campus. So she is going to be overseeing the agricultural programming. So just wanted to let you know about that. We also have made some changes to how we're doing our printing services at the college, and that is something that you will be discussing, I believe, that came out of the committee tonight. And then to support our students and changes in student populations, I'm really excited to say that we are going to be hiring a part-time student life assistant, Natasha Miller, who would be that individual who has been really coordinating all of our student life pieces. With our student population getting younger and younger, she needs to have an assistant, just a part-time. And so Natasha has been promoted to be our manager of student life. And we're going to be hiring that part-time student life assistant behind it. So just kind of 5 changes that I wanted you to know about. So we're really kind of going back to looking at the number of students that we have in our schools. How many managers do we need for those areas and so forth. So we definitely, once this dean is hired, in the transportation, ag, natural resources, construction, advanced manufacturing, engineering, we will then ask that new leader as to, working with Deb, as to how do we continue to support. So will we hire an associate dean? We don't know yet. I would assume that there will definitely be another manager position. We had asked Al to be able to let us know what his needs would be as well. But again, he has an opportunity at Nicolay, and we respect that. Any questions on that?
What's he gonna do at Nicolay?
I have been told that he has taken another dean position, but he believes that there's some opportunity for him there to continue to potentially move up. So, Deb, is that correct? So we wish him the best. Wish him the
Good
best.
guy, yeah.
Yeah, we're hoping that he finds what he's looking for. So, from President's Association schedule, we had our year-end meeting June 6th and June 7th in the Dells. I was asked as well to be the keynote for the Wisconsin Leadership Development Institute for the basic and advanced academies that were also being held in the Dells. I believe they both went well. Just a reminder that I'll be the new incoming vice president for the President's Association next year. So everybody help me. No, it'll be great. And then Jason from Southwest, who's the president there, will be the president. I will be the vice president. Western, Roger Stanford, will be the new secretary coming in. And because Jason was unable to be at his first meeting, I'm never going to, he's going to need to buy me chocolate all year. I got the privilege of leading all the presidents in our planning day, which is like corralling, you can imagine, 16 presidents all together trying to figure out our task force and our committees and liaison reports. But I think I did it well. I finished 20 minutes early, so got some kudos on that. But I look forward to just continuing in the leadership of the executive committee. I think that helps me have a perspective. It helps Midstate be at the table. So I look forward to that next step next year. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Then we'll move on to our committee reports, the first being Finance and Audit with Chuck.
Thank you, Justin. Page 26 shows the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget modifications made during the month of May. They were just a couple of minor adjustments, adjusting to actual and shifting some funds for both general fund and capital funds from this year's budget into next year's budget. So the net result was reducing revenue for this year and reducing expenses for this year, just a minor adjustment on fund equity. Page 27 shows the adjusted budget based on those minor modifications. So not much net of a change there. I think it's just like a $1,000 reduction in the fund equity, both the Fund 1 and then the total current budget. So very, very minor changes there. Page 28 shows the current actuals year-to-date. We've got 11 months now under our belt, so we just have the 1 month of June left. We've recognized or received 92% of our revenue so far this year, so that's essentially right on track for the year. For expenditures, we've recognized or accrued 85% of the expenditures, so we're a little bit below budget there. And notably, if you look on column 1, Fund 1, current expenditures, Rob mentioned that the $4,433,000 reflects 74% of our year-to-date, of our budget. So year-to-date, we're only 74% of budget, so we're significantly under there. That's the main controllable expenses. And while there may be some late expenditures coming to the party for this last month, it's still going to be under budget. And that's why we anticipate not using as much of our fund equity this year that we had budgeted. For the month of May, our our expenditures exceeded our revenue by 2.3 million. Year-to-date, the expenditures exceeded revenue by 1.6 million. Net impacts to the changes in fund equity, the Fund 1 is down to, we had a $2.3 million change to the fund equity decrease in Fund 1. Our current revenue over expenditures in Fund 1 is still $1.5 million positive, but that's where we anticipate in the next month that going negative, resulting in a net use of fund equity for Fund 1 for the year. Total of all funds is about the same impact, down $2.3 million, which is coincidentally what we were exceeding expenses over revenue for the month of May. So we're 2.3 million down there in the total of all funds. Bob, you're probably wondering what the quiz of the month is going to be,
Oh, absolutely, that's what I was thinking about.
but we're going to take a pass on it this month.
Okay,
The last item I'll mention is on page 29. Our cash and investments total 20.3 million, which is 70% of our maximum monthly amount, which was in February of 2017. Any questions on the financials or anything to add, Rob? No, I think that's very good. Okay.
What kind of return are you getting on those investments, Rob, now?
So it's a 50/50 mix between equities and bonds.
Okay.
So interest rates are up a little bit over where they were last year. And if you look at the last, starting in September, the last, 9 months, it's been up and down, of course. It's at an all-time high because we started about 3 years ago.
Yeah. Our utilities, some of our investments are up at 3% now, which is, I haven't seen that in quite a while.
Oh, I want to mention one more thing on the current actuals. Fund 2 is significantly below budget, and Rob needed to remind me that Fund 2 is where the high school dual credit revenue and expenditures come in, but it doesn't come in till the month of June. So next month, we'll see that get closer to the budgeted figure. Right now, it's at like 30 or 35% of budget, so. All right, that concludes the financial report. We just had one additional item for informational purposes. Rob shared with us the financing timetable. You saw that we're going to be borrowing $5 million for next year's budget, and the schedule for those, for that financing is going to be very similar to what it was last year. So we'll get some initial resolution adopted next month that will allow staff and our consultants to move forward on that. But it will be sometime in August, September before we get information on how that was received in the financial markets. I think that concludes our report.
are you gonna do the budget?
Oh, yeah, we do need to adopt the budget. Thank you, Bob. The budget was presented to the Finance Committee a couple months ago. We had a detailed look at it last month, and then Rob went through it again tonight in the public hearing. And we have a resolution, I think it's an Exhibit F. And I would move that we adopt the resolution in Exhibit F approving the fiscal year 2020 budget.
Also move.
A motion and a second?
Robert Beaver,
Yes.
Christine Press,
Yes.
Justin Herber,
Yes.
Richard Martin,
Yes.
Linnea Miller,
Yes.
Charles Spargo,
Yes.
Thank you. all set. Move on to the Academic and Human Resources Committee with Linnea.
Thank you, Justin. We also met earlier this evening when we had no consent agenda items. We have
Other
two-
than the trains.
Other than we had a little discussion about the train difficulties of getting through town. Could all agree on that. We have two other items. First one was brought to us last month at the meeting, Dr. Karen Brzezinski. So this will be a bit of a review. We're going to review it, take questions, and then we'd like to make a motion and have it a vote. So the 2019-2024 Affirmative Action Equal Opportunity 5-Year Plan. This happens every 5 years. Each college compiles and submits a new 5-year plan to the system office. And I think we had that handed out last week so you could review it. I'm sorry. The purpose of the plan is to identify where our current and employee populations do not reflect our general populations in terms of females, minorities, and disabled individuals, and then to determine how we will work together to close that gap. On the student side, they look at both enrollment and graduation. On the employee side, at full-time employees. For the student population in total, our enrollment is representing our district population appropriately. On the graduation side, minority graduation may be slightly underrepresented. Additionally, female students in non-traditional occupations are underrepresented. And what we try to do here is create an inclusive environment to help offset that. On the employment side, the disabled population will appear out of compliance in all areas, and this is because the college has not measured disabilities within the staff. It's recommended by the system office as a best practice, and one of the activities is to implement a voluntary disability survey. Among staff, the total minority population is out of compliance. On both student and employee sides, we drill down into specific program groups and specific employment groups. All the detailed reports are in the appendix to the plan. These are the data we look at when we develop our program initiatives. This month, we're ready to answer any questions and then ask for a motion, a second, and a vote. Any questions?
I'll move to adoption.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Robert Peter,
Yes.
Kristen Kress,
Yes.
Justin Jordan,
Yes.
Richard Merton,
Yes.
Linnea Miller.
Yes.
Charles Spargo.
Yes.
Thank you. Our second item is a new programming presentation. Vice President of Academics, Dr. Deb Stensel, presented two different programs that we're looking at. The academic team is working through a 3-year product development plan, and back in July, Deb shared information about two programs they're working on. The first one is Leadership Development Associate Degree Program. You might remember this as it used to be called Supervisory Management, and it was offered from 1981 to 2017 when it was decided to suspend it due to declining enrollments. At that time, the plan was to reimagine the program to meet student and employer need and bring it out of suspensions. Because we were within the 3 years since we suspended it, we can request to have it reinstated. Current data predicts a 3.6% increase in the number of positions for supervisors, leaders in the next 5 years in our district. This represents 99 new jobs in this field. And in addition, 30% that are currently in this field are age 55 and older and are anticipated to retire in the next 10 years. So those that are retiring are in addition to the 99 new jobs that are going to be created. The Business Management Advisory Committee supported the decision to reinstate the program at their spring 2019 meeting. The program will meet the needs of incumbent workers who are looking to advance in their organizations. If approved, we will work with business leaders and workforce development staff to create it in a flexible way, offering credit for prior learning opportunities and accelerated degree completion options. We will need to hire a full-time faculty, which will be funded in our operational budget. No capital equipment will be needed for this program. The second program is a Manufacturing Operations Management Associate Degree Program. This program is designed to provide entry-level management skills to employees working in manufacturing organizations in central Wisconsin. It's built around a core of technical courses and includes additional courses in leadership, human resource management, quality principles, and accounting. Currently, 2 other colleges have this program. This will help transition current employees into well-rounded leaders. Potential jobs for graduates of this program include production manager, shift supervisor, maintenance manager, operations manager, and director of quality. While there is a modest increase in the number of job openings predicted in our district in the next 5 years, nearly 30% of those working in this field are age 55 and older and are anticipating retirement in the next 10 years. In addition, a survey of manufacturing companies in the district revealed strong support for the program. 12 responding companies reported having between 41 and 69 full-time job openings in the next 5 years. Many companies reported the need for industry-specific credentials such as Lean, OSHA 30, supply chain, production scheduling, and the program would meet the need of incumbent workers who are looking to advance from manufacturing work to management and leadership within their organization. 9 of the employers volunteered to serve on a committee to guide development of the program. It is anticipated that current faculty could teach courses in this program and no capital equipment will be needed for the program. Pending approval by Midstate and WTCS, these programs would launch in the fall of 2020. So next month, we would be bringing back the Leadership Development Associate Degree Program, well, actually both of them for approval. And then because the Manufacturing Operations Associate Degree Program is a new program, that'll have to go through a second round of approvals later on, so effectively putting these into fall 2020. Any questions? Anything to add? That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll have the Facilities and External Relations Committee with Bob.
We did not have any consent agenda items. First item is Simulation Center RFP and request for state board approval. And we've talked about this now for quite a while, I guess. But particularly last month, Midstate currently has a need for a comprehensive simulation center to increase the number of students in the nursing program, excuse me, and enhance the other allied health and EMS programming. RFP was sent out in late May. You received one respondent, and that was Aspirus Riverview Hospital in Rapids. The committee reviewed the proposal and found it suitable based to proximity to the campus and its location within a building providing daily and ongoing healthcare services overall cost. So we're asked to do approval of a resolution that this is going to the state board, correct?
Correct.
Be resolved that the Midstate Technical College Board of Directors approve the lease of an approximately 11,500 square feet of space at Aspirus Riverview Hospital near the Wisconsin Rapids campus as established in terms of the lease agreement, and request Wisconsin TCS Program Board to approve their meeting at their July meeting. And we keep in mind, we got a nice grant to help us out on this, and again, but it does take board approval by the WTS system board, right?
It does, it would be on the state board agenda for July 9th.
Okay.
And so, as Bob had said, we had done the RFP to be able to see who was interested in being our partner. And as Bob stated, we had one RFP that came in and definitely meets the criteria that we were looking at. And I know we talked through some of the details of what we were looking for in the past meeting. So we're very happy and hoping that you will approve this tonight, which then we can get on to the state board agenda for July 9th approval.
I would so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second?
Robert Beaver,
Yes.
Kristen Krass,
Yes.
Justin Herder,
Yes.
Richard Martin,
Yes.
Linnea Miller,
Yes.
Charles Spargo,
Yes.
Then we had informational items. Mandy reported on the out-of-state tuition remission annual summary. We haven't had any out-of-state students in 18-19. In fact, we haven't had for, what'd you say, 5 years, 4 or 5 years?
at least.
And so there's nothing other than a report that we don't have any. Same thing for FY '20. And then outsourcing media services, Shelley mentioned this. Brad said internally, our needs have really declined internally. And a lot of that goes to the textbook and handbooks for nursing and what have you that they don't need anymore. And more people are using electronic textbook stuff. Plus the age of equipment has it's got some age to it, and it's gonna be like $90,000 to replace a color copier. Which, by the way, it sounds awful, but it really isn't compared to what they started out as either, so kind of interesting. But the decision to outsource Mid-State's printing needs to Quality Plus Printing in Rapids. And they've started that as of the 28th of May, and they're monitoring that now, so you're aware that that's going on. Workforce development contracts and proposals. Bobby said, on page 30, appendix D, if you wanna look, there's $11,299 in 6 contracts, for May, and there's $9,800 in proposals to 7 different, people. And that concludes my report.
What's the scope of the outsourcing? I'm assuming that there's still printers around that people can print to, but not the print center or whatever. So I'm assuming like the coated paper pieces, like this
You're
would be at Quality Plus, but there's still,
You're correct, Brad. You
Whatever
can
you wanna
answer
call
some
it.
of this, but we did have a media services
yeah.
area. And so sometimes, like in our nursing program, if there was extra handbooks and so forth, this was the department that printed that. And I think it was great that he used the nursing as an example. Nursing right now, the full program, because there's a WTCS grant, 100% of all their resources are now electronic. So when you look at the magnitude of what our media services was printing, the volume has dropped tremendously. And then looking at the budget itself to maintain the equipment, we do have one of the big printers that unfortunately needs to be replaced. And looking at the volume, Brad had brought that recommendation forward to, yes, to outsource those pieces. And so Brad, do you want to add anything to that? I know you had given a little more detail in the committee.
No, I just add that, as an example, last year we had about 1.5 million black and white prints,
Okay.
and it's anticipated that anywhere from 900,000 to 1 million will be decreased because of the efforts to move things more digitally for our students. That's an example of how much decline is going to be experienced.
But everybody still has their printers and all of that throughout the college. But as far as our print shop that did these pieces and things to help support our bookstore, that volume is just not there anymore.
What kind of impact does that have on staffing for that department?
Through all of our realignment and with that decision, there was one layoff.
Okay.
So we were able to do everything that we needed to do, and we were quite proud of that with only having one layoff, so. And actually, I think it's fair to say that many of the people that are in the print industry are seeing that things are really changing, so I don't believe that it was a surprise, Brad, that this was coming because they can see how the volume has been decreasing, but still hard to do though, still hard to do, but the right thing for our college. Good question.
That concludes my report, yes.
Thank you. And we have the committee of the whole this evening. In advance of the annual organizational meeting that will be held on July 8th, Executive Assistant Angie Sousa did present proposed changes to the monthly board packet and committee structure, as well as facilitate some conversation around service on committees in the upcoming year. Some additional things we were looking at were changes to how the minutes might be taken for some of our meetings, changes to our board events meetings, and then enhancements to our board packets that we will all receive, as well as, like I mentioned, some of the committee structure changes that will take place starting next month. So that concludes that report. And with that, we have no discussion and action items this evening. So that leads us to our final
So
item.
I so move.
Okay, so we are adjourned. Thank you.